Okay, let's see. Let's make sure that I'm live. Let's see here. Yes, great. Let me share this. Give me one moment. Give me one moment. How y'all doing today? Hope you're doing well. Just give me a moment. Let's see. Just sharing this out. And I think we are set. Yes, we are. We are. Hey guys, hi. Happy Tuesday to you. Happy Tuesday to you. And thank you for joining me on today. For those of you who may not know me, I am B. Wright Jones, and I am a published author, inspirational and transformational speaker, blogger, online life coach, certified online life coach, and publisher and podcast host dedicated to serving women who are 35 and older who are stuck and desire to get unstuck and sexy. Good afternoon, beautiful queen. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me, Val. Good to see you, darling. And I'm going to be speaking on a subject today about when seasons change. When seasons change. This is a Facebook Live, but I will be sharing this also on my podcast show, Get Unstuck and Sexy with B. Wright Jones, which can be found on several different platforms. But I will be sharing this recording as well on my podcast show. So let's get right into it. I'm excited about this topic. A lot of times we go through different seasons in our life and we're wondering, like, what's going on? What season am I in? And yes, amen. And, God, He's so faithful, but sometimes, it can be confusing. Things can be unclear, but, we have to always remember that God is still faithful. And through those times when things are unclear, there's a season for that too. So I'm going to get into all of that. But before I touch on each different season that I've researched and I've studied on, I wanted to just touch base on a few things. So just like the natural seasons, we go through spiritual seasons. We know that the natural seasons are winter, spring, summer, and fall, right? But we also go through spiritual seasons. And those seasons at times can be dark and cold. They could be a time of shedding old habits, behaviors, relationships. They could be a time of embracing the new opportunities, new things, new relationships. And it could also be a time to pause, to reflect, a time for personal development and spiritual development. So I wanted to talk about the natural seasons and for us to see how they come together also with our spiritual seasons. This is coming from a site. This information here is called Where Deep Calls to Deep, and it talks about the spring season, how there's fresh buds bloom, all is green, new, beautiful and exciting. New opportunities appear. God is speaking everywhere we look, and promises from the past are being fulfilled. Then you have the summer. All those new opportunities need to be brought into mature fruit. This requires a steadiness and it can feel hot sometimes. We need to keep connected to our water source so that our fruit doesn't shrivel prematurely. Then we have autumn. Autumn is harvest time and we see great results. It's time to celebrate all the many things God is doing, but also doors may be closing at this time. Things that were once fulfilling might be losing their appeal, and it's time to reevaluate what we are involved in. And I'm kind of in this place right now. I'm in a few seasons I can see in my life. But it's time to reevaluate what we are involved in. And if we have been super busy, exhaustion could be taking its toll. Then we have the winter. When it's cold, it's when pruning takes place, right back to the vine. The more mature a vine is, the more harshly it is pruned every year, so that in spring it may bear even more fruit. God not only prunes excess activities, but also heart issues, including forgiveness, our thoughts, pride, and anything else that is hindering us spiritually. Pruning is important, and not resisting God's pruning is even more important, because the more we resist, the more our conscience can become seared and we refuse to deal with certain things. Now, God prunes us in our attitudes, in our thoughts, in our judgments that we make on others. He prunes us of unforgiveness. He can prune our relationships. Sometimes he will bring people into our lives to refine us, and then he can move those same people out just as swiftly. He prunes us in the areas of health by challenging us to take better care of our bodies, and he prunes us by challenging us to use our time better, and that looks different for each and every one of us. Now, again, this reading I just shared came from Where Deep Calls to Deep. Okay, so I'm going to get into what I've researched, what I've studied on the different seasons that we face. When seasons change, how do we handle it? And do we recognize when we've entered a new season of life? Now, there's several different spiritual seasons. So I'm going to go through the ones that I've researched and that I've studied. So you have number one, I'm going to talk about a season of growth and preparation. This is a time and a season of new opportunities, a time of development, a time where God will work on our character. He'll be preparing us for the next, and he will also be dealing with us with our fruit, also bringing forth our fruit. So I can honestly see now that I'm in a season of growth and preparation. I look back at January when I first started speaking internationally. I knew that I spoke this, and this was part of my affirmations, and things started to change in April. And I've actually been speaking every month since April on a global platform. This is a time of growth and preparation for me. God's putting me in new places, preparing me for my next. So if you notice new opportunities coming, new things that you've never done before, things that have been on your heart, just know that God is preparing you for greater. It's a time for growth and preparation. Then we have number two, the season of preparing for transition. Now, this could be a time of transition into a new marriage, motherhood, a new business, new assignments. But we have to know when to let go, when to release some things, so God can take us in to this new transition. Sometimes don't you have to be very notice things during this time of season of preparing for transition. You may notice a change uh, in how you want to spend your time. Maybe you were into hanging out with your girlfriends, doing things, hanging out, having a nice time. But then you may notice that something's changed. You're not really interested in hanging out much. You're more into content being home and just quiet and reading, or just that personal time. That could be an indication that God could be preparing you for marriage. Just you have to notice the different changes. Some things that you really were excited about before may not be exciting anymore. That's a time where God is pulling you away from some things to prepare you for your next. So be very pay very close attention to the changes that are taking place in the things that you desire, the things that are changing around you, the people that you spend your time with. These things are very important and are indicators into the seasons that we're in or that we're going into. It could be, and then, like I said, you have to know when to let go, to release some things, not just staying in certain things for convenience. Sometimes during these seasons of preparing for transition, um, we notice sometimes our relationships, there's some conflict. Um, we may have a quick to have little attitudes or our tolerance with some people or some things. That could be telling us something. It's time to just, let go because God is trying to do something else. Um, like I said earlier, God could bring people in our lives. We have relationships are seasonal, but sometimes we tend to try to hold on to some relationships after whatever the lesson was to learn is over, and then we'll notice conflict. We'll notice just low tolerance and attitudes are coming. That's an indicator too sometimes that it's time to move on. But sometimes we try to hold on to relationships, and God is saying that season is over. Yes, pay attention, be still. Yes, so true, Valerie. Then we have the season of pruning. I spoke on that a little bit earlier. It's letting go of some things. Excuse me, letting go of some attitudes, letting go of some people. This could be a testing period. That season of pruning. It's best to not fight it, but to be cooperative and allow God to do the work that's necessary during this season. Then we have number 4, that season of wilderness, where we may feel alone. We feel like we're not really hearing from God. Um, these are the times where we really have to just trust that God is with us. And during these seasons, many times God is behind the scenes doing a great work, but we feel really alone. And it's just really, we're seeking God. We want to hear from Him, but it's quiet. God is really doing a work behind the scenes, but He's also watching our attitudes during this time. So that's a season of wilderness. Then we have number 5, a season of rest. And that also goes together to I'm going to combine these two, a season of rest and a season of grieving. And I'll tell you why I'm putting these together. A season of rest is a time when God is really uh, training us to trust Him, to seek His direction, and to hear His voice. Okay? This is a time where we need to stand still and know that He is God. This is where we really have to trust God, to rest in Him, to release control, and allow God to do what He does best. Okay? So this is a time where He's getting you ready for your next season. Also, this could be a time of grieving. You may have went through a loss of a loved one, a relationship. Some form of loss has taken place in your life, and this is a time for healing. That's important. We all need that time to heal. So again, I'll put that together with season of rest and season of grieving. We go through a season where we need to heal and we need to grieve. We need to really seek God, to hear His voice, and allow Him to do a work in us. Okay? Then we have next a season of waiting. Ah, this is so hard sometimes. The season of waiting. I think about the children of Israel, how they got so impatient. I mean, they were right going into the promised land. But because they got impatient, began to complain, that short distance, because of their attitude, turned into what? 40 years. So that time, that season of waiting, God is watching our attitude. He's developing us. He's not only preparing us, he's preparing others that's connected to our destiny. It's not just about us. So that period of waiting, we have to be very careful and watch what comes out of our mouth. That complaining, we got to watch our attitude because God is watching everything, right? Then we go into a season of change or a new beginning. This is when everything around us seems to be new opportunities. Um, and I'm kind of in that season too. And you could be in more than one season because you could be transitioning. Okay, so there could be new career, new business, relationships, moving to another state or across country. So this is a season of change and new beginnings that will take place. It could be the ending of something, an ending um, of a relationship. That's a season of change as well. Okay. Then we have a season of sowing and investing. You know, they say seed time and harvest, a time for sowing, a time for reaping. There's a season of sowing and investing, sowing into others, being a blessing, being observant, listening for God, who God tells you to bless. This could be a time to sow into your business. You know, it gets me a lot of times when some business owners, they only share the glitz and the glam about a business. A business is not easy. It's a lot of hard work. You have your ups and your downs. You have your high seasons, you have your low seasons. You have your seasons where you're really prospering, then you have your seasons when it's slow. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. So, in those seasons of sowing into your business, sow. You may have to continue to sow personal development, sowing into continuously sowing into your marketing. Maybe God may place it on your heart to sow something free to some people with your business. You have to be prayerful about it, but you have to sow and you have to invest in yourself and in others. Despise not the day of small beginnings. We all start somewhere, and it's not easy. God takes us through different levels. So remember that we have to also sow into our lives, into our business, and into others, into relationships. It's all about sowing, investing. And then comes harvest season. Harvest season, reaping what we have sown. We have to be careful about what we sow. If we want to get back good, we have to sow good. If we don't want people gossiping and talking about us, then we need to stop gossiping and talking about other people. If we want people to bless us, we got to be a blessing. You know, it's all about sowing, reaping what we've sown. This is that time where the return comes, where the overflow comes. We have to remember where our blessings come from, and this is a time to be grateful and a time when we're blessed to be a blessing. Amen. It's a time when we are blessed to be a blessing. So I went over all of the different seasons. I hope that this has given some clarity as to the different seasons that we go through. Again, I mentioned the season of growth and preparation. Then we have the season of preparing for transition. That could be transition into a marriage, motherhood, other new things in our lives. We have to notice the things around us, the things God may be pulling us away from. And also during that season of preparing, if it's especially for marriage, God could be working with us with selfishness to get the selfishness out of us to prepare us, so that when we go into our marriage, those things, those areas have been dealt with. So that's why we have to be very observant. Then the seasons of pruning, letting go of some things, some attitudes, some people, testing period. The wilderness season when you feel alone, not really hearing from God. The season of rest, and I also added a season of grieving during that time. That's a season of healing, learning, hearing God's voice, seeking God for direction and redirection when He's getting you ready for your next season. Then there's the season of waiting. God is developing us, watching our attitude, preparing us and others connected to us. Then the season of change or new beginnings. It could be new relationships or ending of relationships, business or ending a new job, starting a new job. During this time, season of change, there's doors open and doors will be closing. Then a season of sowing and investing in yourself and in others. Despise not the day of small beginnings. And then lastly, we all love this season, the harvest season, where we get back what we've sown. If we want to make sure we're giving out the right thing, because we're going to be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall he reap. God is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. So remember, what you give out is going to come back. And sometimes we be saying, what is going on? Why am I going through this? Did you sow it? So we got to be careful about that, what we sow into other people's lives. So again, I hope that this has blessed you this time. And just remember, guys, just to keep looking up, to trust God with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. It's about wisdom, God's wisdom. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And then again, we all know. Did I put it here? Give me 1 second. 1 second. I think I wrote it down. Give me 1 second, guys. I wrote it down. I wanted to share this with you, but where did I write it at? Oh my goodness, now I can't find it. Give me 1 second, please. Um, let's see. Here we go. For everything, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. For everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under the heaven. So know that there is a time and a season for everything. God's timing is not like our timing. We have to wait on God. God is not going to release anything until He's ready and until what? We're ready. So rest in the Lord, guys. Be blessed. Remember to keep looking up. And thanks for joining me on today. And again, I hope that this time has been a blessing to you. Take care, and I'll see you guys again soon. Be blessed. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. Listen, for the ladies, I do have a group coaching. Actually, tomorrow is the last day. I have a scholarship opportunity available for ladies for my group coaching program that starts on May the 25th. If you send me an email to admin@keeplookingupwithbrightjones.com, explain to me how this group coaching program can help you. It actually focuses on helping you to get unstuck from those self-defeating thoughts, insecurities, getting prepared for your next, doing some hard work, working with some things that are holding us back, unforgiveness, how you think about yourself, renewing the mind. If you're interested in participating, just send me an email letting me know how you believe this program will help you, and it will give you $150 off. I'm doing this scholarship opportunity for 5 women. The cost is, excuse me, $300, but you will get half off. Okay? So if you get that email in, I'll be sure to respond. All right, guys, be blessed. And I look forward to seeing you guys again on next week. Take care.